All right. Well, hello, my name is Ian Peterson. I am an extension educator with University of Nebraska. I'm a horticulture educator for Dodge County in the Fremont area, and 9 surrounding counties. And so here we're gonna interview some panelists for resources to help out new farmers, old farmers, just kind of getting an idea of what's available for both ways to help either improve or change growing practices, but also ways to access new or different markets, potentially for expansion, or just trying to find a route to get your product out there. So we will go around and introduce our growing for market extension educators first, and then we'll get introduced to the panelists. Carol?
Hello, I'm Carol Waters. I am the Extension Educator for Commercial Fruit and Vegetable Production. I'm housed in Cass County, but I cover a larger region and look forward to today's talk. Emily?
Hi, I'm Emily Stein. I'm the horticulture extension educator responsible for the 11 counties in the Panhandle.
Nicole?
Hi, I'm Nicole Stoner. I'm the extension educator in Gage County, Southeast Nebraska, and I cover 11 counties in Southeast Nebraska there. So welcome.
Wonderful. And we are missing David Lott today, who is in North Platte and kind of covers a straight up and down section of the middle of the state over there. So yeah, great. Well, let's go ahead and get introduced to our panelists. I guess for my screen, Katja, you want to start?
Sure. Hello, everyone. My name is Katja Kulo-Cole. I'm the statewide soil health extension educator. So a lot of the work that I do is with larger growers, but also urban farmers, community gardens, smaller farmers. So just cover a wide range. And I'm also the Nebraska SARE co-coordinator together with my colleague Ben Beckman. So I'm today going to be talking a little bit about that responsibility.
Great. Brock?
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Brock Johnson with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. We're a branch of the federal government with the United States Department of Agriculture. I'm the urban conservationist for the state of Nebraska. So my territory is the entire state of Nebraska. I'm housed out of the Columbus, Nebraska field office. And we have a lot of programs for urban and small gardeners. We can put a farm number that allows you access or gains you access to USDA programs on about 1/4 of an acre or smaller size area. So it's actually a garden size area. But we provide technical and financial assistance for all kinds of projects for urban growers. So thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. Can't wait to hear about those programs. Ben?
Hello, everyone. Ben Jewell. I'm a Nebraska Extension educator based in Otoe County and cover the southeast corner of the state for Extension. I'm in a Rural Prosperity Nebraska team, and I have a focus on regional food systems here in the state of Nebraska. And I'm also here to talk about the Heartland Regional Food Business Center project.
Perfect. Sarah?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah Meyer. I'm a farm to school specialist at the Nebraska Department of Education. So I'm based out of Lincoln, but our office obviously serves the entire state. So farm to school, we help with obviously local procurement. So getting local grown and raised product from Nebraska onto the menu for school lunch and school breakfast and other programs and child nutrition programs in schools. We also help with school gardens and a lot of nutrition education around those local food products as well.
Great. Wonderful. So obviously we're kind of spread around a little bit with, I guess a couple of us helping on the growing side, a couple of us helping on the marketing side. So I'll just kind of throw out some questions and answer as you see fit, take turns, be nice. But if it doesn't apply directly, you can hang back, that kind of thing. We don't have to go through each person's response individually. So great. Wonderful. Thanks for being here, everybody. Diving right into just kind of what the substance of what you guys do. What initiatives or assistance does your organization provide to fruit and vegetable growers to encourage sustainable farming practices?
Well, I can go first. So, so I'm the coordinator for SARE in Nebraska. So North Central, or SARE is a USDA program, stands for Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education. It is nationwide program, but we are part here in Nebraska. We're part of the North Central region. So North Central SARE is where we are. And we provide a lot of resources, including free books, free brochures, fantastic online resources, videos, and things like that on all kinds of topics. You can go to the North Central SARE website to find that. I also have resources on such as print materials available for people that are interested. So it covers a wide range of topics. For horticulture, for example, we have things on high tunnels. We have information on how to grow cover crops or other horticultural crops. We have information on how to, develop your own small business. It really covers a huge area of, or a huge range of topics that are all concerned with, supporting rural, healthy, vibrant, diverse communities. The other thing that we offer are grants that are directly for farmers and ranchers. So North Central SARE has a competitive farmer rancher grant program. You can find more information on their website. Again, just Google North Central SARE, and then check out their grant program. But the farmer rancher grants are up to $15,000 for 2 years for a farmer or a rancher, and people can also work together on those and get up to $30,000 per year. And that would be, for testing any sort of new sustainable farming method that basically improves profitability, improves some environmental outcomes, and improves quality of life. So that's kind of basically what we focus on.
For those grants, are there do you have ways of helping track that research and kind of figuring out what are the deliverables on those projects that a farmer would need to do?
So the farmers have to, they come up with their own idea of what they want to do or want to test on their farm. To give you, some background information, the best way would be to just look at some of the grants that have previously been funded. They all submit a report that's available on their website, so they have a project database. Probably be the easiest thing to get to look at that, to get some ideas on, on what's been fundable. But farmers and ranchers are typically required to collect some data, but that can be in the form of some soil samples if you're testing some sort of farm practice. It can be in the form of some economics data, if you're setting up a new small business on your farm. Yeah, things like that. So to better assist you with grants, you can also directly contact myself or Ben Beckman. We can, provide you some more detailed information.
And is it possible to, if you go in and get some ideas, is it possible to repeat an idea or being competitive? Is it better to try to say, hey, I'm trying something new and unique?
I think you would be hard pressed to really repeat somebody's idea. You could always make the case, well, this has never been done in Nebraska or in my county, or, I have different climate here or different growing conditions. But, that would be something that we can probably discuss if, but yeah, and normally it should be something that's somewhat new, but it doesn't have to be completely outside anything, outside the norm. So yeah.
For sure. Great.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
I'll go next. We've got at USDA, NRCS, we've got a lot of programs to help growers sustainability and viability of their operation. And it's basically our traditional participation with USDA programs. And that, what I mean by that is across Nebraska, we have tens of thousands of farms that participate with USDA. So they become USDA eligible participants by getting a USDA farm number. And at that point, we can work with that grower to provide technical assistance for them. Assistance might be something as simple as the grower is using an irrigation system, and we could provide a sprinkler irrigation system. We could provide the design of a drip system for their operation, small operation. And then we also can provide financial assistance. So we would have a program to couple that example of the drip irrigation system. We might be able to provide the cost share or the funds to convert that sprinkler irrigation system over to subsurface drip or surface drip. So we have a lot of great programs. We're in the business of conserving natural resources, even though it's on a small scale. We're always interested in that. And in the example of our primary practice, it's the high tunnel greenhouse and that season extension that a lot of growers across Nebraska are looking for. And the payments we make to urban farmers are out of two programs. Our flagship program for small growers is the Environmental Quality Incentive Program. Acronym for that is EQIP. We're really good at acronyms here at USDA. And the other program is the Conservation Stewardship Program. So that's for a little more advanced grower, but it offers a unique opportunity to get a contract with us for the minimum contract amount is $4,000 per year. They're roughly 4.5-year contracts, so 4 growing seasons, and they cap out at $20,000. So $20,000 contract for a small grower can be super impactful. And those are the two programs that we administer that can provide some cost share assistance to help that sustainability. The other piece to sustainability that USDA offers is through our regular participation is farm loans. So the Farm Service Agency has low interest loans where commercial loan might be $7% right now. Farm Service Agency has a loan product, I think right now that's at 2.5%. With longer amortization rates tables. So they're using 40 years amortization on land versus a commercial lender might be using 15. So that makes a big difference in the payment and really helps small growers cash flow. Additionally, we have crop insurance for vegetable growers and specialty crop growers. So there's a possibility to get crop insurance if you lose your crop as a small grower, you get drought that comes through a disaster like hail or a storm. USDA might get you the cost or value of your crop cut back to you in the check, basically to help offset that loss. So really great programs. And in addition to that, there's other resources through USDA with rural development and others, and we can be the connector for those other programs that help give sustainability to the small grower.
Great. So you mentioned briefly, I think in your intro, about kind of down to a small scale. So between like the EQIP and the stewardship, is there a lower limit of space that's being grown on? You said that the stewardship program was for a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, great question. There is no limit to the size of an operation that can participate with USDA, really. I mean, we can get a farm number down to, I mean, they say 10 or 1/10 of an acre, but it's actually, they can make it like a flower pot size if you wanted to. But there's a point, some diminishing returns based on the size of an operation that would make it kind of cost inhibitive to participate. So for example, if you sign up a garden that's 10 foot by 10 foot, you'll find that a lot of our practices on a 10 foot by 10 foot basis, for like for irrigation, for example, you might be getting $50 worth of cost share for that practice. And does it make sense to sign up and go through the paperwork that USDA requires to get the $50? So not to say that you discourage that person from participating, but we definitely don't want to set a limit or even talk about one, because we don't want somebody to feel like they're excluded because there is really no lower limit, but certainly you'll see that when you participate with us, there's a scale of size that really matters when it comes to the financial assistance part.
Ben or Sarah, anything on that production side?
Yeah, my team, we don't really have production on our side. That's why I turned to you folks and Hort to help answer those questions.
Yeah. Are there, and this may just go back to Brock and Katja, but are there specific programs or education that your organizations provide that help with the transition to organic farming? How to kind of think about that, plan that kind of thing.
Yeah, so for USDA, with our regular participation, like I've been talking about, we actually have a couple different possibilities. So we have practices that support organic farming. So for instance, if you're going to add a cover crop to an operation, we pay for the cover crop. Or any other type of practice that's on our micro practice list that an organic farmer could take advantage of. There'd be some financial assistance there. Before that happens, there's an organic transition payment and then an organic service or OSP plan payment. Basically, we used to call them conservation activity practices or CAP plans. And so that, I think, I would have to look that up, but in years past for a small operation, I think it's about between $6,000 and $10,000 to write that you're a certified organic plan. So it usually at least equals or maybe more than exceeds the cost of working with a private company to get that OSP on file and get it started growing. And so once that plan is put in place, the organic plan, then there also is a transition payment for the small grower. So for instance, if you're in a traditional rotation and now you're going to go to a rotation that's more conducive to organic farming, we would pay you so much per square foot to help offset any losses incurred by changing your management system and going to an organic plan.
Very cool. Gotcha.
We have some new conferences that are kind of geared, educational conferences that are kind of geared towards farmers that are thinking about organic production or fairly new to organic production. I'm gonna do like shameless pitch here. We have an upcoming conference December 5th at NRCS, and that's our organic farming conference. So if you haven't gotten the invitation, I will send it to everyone. Yeah, so that's kind of a new program that we started here in Extension just last year. Yeah, SARE has quite a bit of educational materials available for organic farmers. So again, you can find that on the website. Their materials are free. They even ship them to you for free. So if you want the print materials, or if you are, okay reading it online, they have PDFs available of pretty much everything. So, yeah.
Okay. In terms of just being organic and having organic produce, anything on the marketing side for benefits or pathways or anything like that specific to organic growing?
I'm not super specific to organic, but we do have a lot of resources around the marketing side of things that would be applicable for organic producers as well. We do a lot of work with Market Maker, which is a national organization. We have a Nebraska Market Maker tool, which allows producers to get on, create a free profile on basically what is a large directory of local food producers. I think we have over 350 producers and other food-based businesses in our Nebraska Market Maker directory right now. And so one of the nice things about it is they can get in and sort of indicate what their production practices are. So if they are certified organic, they can list that in a profile. And then as buyers and consumers are looking specifically for organic products, they can filter by who is growing organically and find those producers in their particular area. So we definitely encourage folks who are certified organic or using organic practices to indicate that in their profile. It really helps them kind of be lifted up to more visibility among consumers, and can help in that particular way.
Okay. Sarah, is there any tracking that schools do with whether something's organic or not?
You know, every school is different. We also work with a lot of early care and education sites as well. So between both of those, you know, they have different preferences between product and what they're looking for. Schools do love to, you know, educate and bring awareness to those topics too. So they're always looking for farmers to come in and share about practices, especially with like ag classes, different things like that. To come in and talk about those products, especially as a lot of them have a greenhouse or a garden and they're maybe trying some of those in their school as well. It's fun to hear from the experts in those areas. So one of the places I can see that kind of overlapping. But yeah, every school's a little different on what they're looking for.
Cool. Really quick, I can't remember if it was specified or not between Brock and Katya, but Ben mentioning being certified organic in terms of like there's the transition to organic practices, but is there any help in terms of getting certified? Because honestly, personally, I'm not that familiar with the process.
Yeah, that's that certified organic transition payment and the OSP. So there's two direct practice payments. Again, there's $6,000 to $10,000 flat, just a flat amount of money to write the OSP or the organic service plan, I guess is what that's called. So yeah, there's direct funding available for that. In fact, that plan is a high priority for USDA. So sometimes we have more applications than we have funds for different practices, but that's the highest priority, the organic plan. So if you wanted that funding, it'd be a very high likelihood that you would receive it. And then the payment that goes to you each year for 3 years is how that organic transition payment works. So for 3 years, there'll be a direct financial payment to the grower.
And then is certification through USDA for becoming certified organic?
Yeah, and that's what that plan is. So
Okay.
I believe it's USDA. I think the state of Nebraska may have a role in that. I'm not 100% sure. Ben might know on that. Because Eastland, I think, worked with that at one time. There's food inspection and FSMA, and there's also, I think it's mostly USDA. I think they contract with somebody, but yes, USDA behind that certification, and we're the conduit for getting it accomplished.
Okay, great. All right, well.
It's just to clarify real quick on that certification. So it is the USDA NOP, National Organic Program, is the label. And they are also the ones who come up with the organic standards and rules. But the certifier is, you know, basically they have to go through a certification agency. And sometimes they have certifiers. More often they're like independent contractors, but they kind of have to find their own certifier. So they have to contact a certification agency first, and then certifier, you know, after the transition period comes out and inspects, or the inspector inspects the farm, and then after that they get certified. So
Great. All right, well, moving on to the marketing side of things. Just kind of a broad, and Ben started talking about this, so maybe we'll let you finish up if you have any hanging points, but what resources do you provide or have available for producers being able to find or access new markets?
Yeah, so we do a lot of technical assistance one-on-one with small scale farmers, helping them kind of really helping to understand what their goals are for their business, you know, where they're at in their kind of business development and where they would like to be. And a big part of that is accessing markets that work for the products that they have and for what they're trying to accomplish. So We do a lot of one-on-one technical assistance in that realm. We also do trainings on different forms of marketing, from basic level, kind of how do you promote your products, do branding and logo development and all those kind of things that are kind of key parts of marketing. We've got some webinars coming up over the winter that are going to focus on different kind of in-depth marketing topics. One's going to be on pricing your products. So this is an area where we find a lot of folks don't have a good way to really kind of set their prices in a way that will allow them to be sustainable as a business, which involves a lot of kind of tracking your cost of production and all these kind of things. So kind of helping folks set up systems that will help them be able to track their costs and therefore price their products in a way that is going to help them keep going. We also do a lot of work with SARE and Department of Education, and we have a couple different producer trainings that we do, trying to help them get into that institutional level marketing. So we have a producer training that goes through the details of how does the National School Lunch Program work, how are schools doing their procurement process, and really some really good strategies and effective tools for farmers to say, this is to help them understand, this is how I approach a school. This is who I should be talking to. Here's the kind of information and questions I should be asking them and all those kind of things. So it's a lot of really hands-on learning. We usually try to bring producers and school food service folks together to those trainings. So it's also an opportunity to network and engage and build those relationships around those school markets. A second training opportunity that we have is called Market Ready. And Market Ready is a marketing program to help those folks who are currently at a direct-to-consumer sort of marketing level. They're at a farmer's market, they're at a CSA level perhaps, but they really want to scale up and reach that wholesale marketing strategy, which gives them some opportunity to diversify their market access and their income streams. And that one really walks through kind of a similar thing as the farm to school, but really focused more on restaurants, grocery stores, and those sort of wholesale buyers. Again, kind of thinking about what is your production planning and how are you going to adjust that to meet that demand at a more wholesale level? How are you going to distribute? What are the kind of different business functions you need to be thinking about and updating and tweaking so you can do that sort of wholesale level of marketing? So those are a couple that we have in the books right now, and that'll be coming up again this winter. But on our website, the Heartland Regional Food Business Center website, there are a lot of resources as well, where folks can get on and kind of search by topic area and find what they're looking for.
Perfect. Great. Thanks for repeating the website. I was going to ask. Bears repeated. All right. And I guess we are going to go one by one. Sarah, you haven't gotten to talk much.
Yeah, Ben mentioned a couple of things that we do, as Ben works really close with us. A lot of the times we're on kind of that middle liaison, just getting producers and schools to kind of speak the same language. So a lot of the times schools are used to ordering from our big broadline distributors or a food service management company. So just getting producers to understand where food service directors are usually coming from can be a huge thing. So like Ben mentioned, we have our producer training where we kind of go through the National School Lunch Program, what different crediting things happen there and where producers could see themselves fitting in. We track a lot of school purchases, so we know what schools are looking for or buying most often, so we can kind of lead producers in that direction. Like Ben said, a lot of just getting them to the right person in the schools. A lot of time getting into the school is really overwhelming or can seem really confusing on who to talk to and when to reach out to them. So we can give a lot of tips on how to get to the right person or give them the right contact if they reach out to us. We also do some beyond the producer training. We do also have some events every couple of months that we call them market meetups. Really just like Ben said earlier, they're similar to that producer training, but getting schools and producers in the same space to just talk about what they have. And then beyond that, we have a whole slew of resources on our website for producers. We have checklists when they're going to meet with a school food service director. What should they bring to that meeting? What should they have prepared? Kind of just getting started for farm to school with farmers and what to look for, how they could list out their products, availability and pricing, bios, different things like that. That can just help those conversations flow a little bit better and get everybody speaking the same language. So lots of marketing pieces in there and different tips and tricks on just how to approach schools and work well with them.
Yeah, and so where would they go to find that information?
That's on our education.ne.gov, and it's our farm to school page. So the Nebraska Department of Education farm to school page.
All right. And then do you, in terms of that's, I guess, that first step of, okay, I feel like I want to do this. Do you recommend they go there and try and maybe find a school near them that's interested in the program, or do they ask you, hey, what should I do, or who should I talk to?
Yes.
What do you?
A little bit of both. It kind of depends on where they are. A lot of our producers already have a connection to a school near them, and we usually tell them to kind of pursue that route. But we can also help them with identifying schools in their area that are interested. Right now, we have a lot of federal funding coming down the line under a local food for schools cooperative agreement with USDA, where the Department of Ed has administered money to schools that they're only allowed to use on local food purchases. And we just learned in October that they're actually renewing that funding as well. So there will be more of it coming. So we have a list of schools that have opted into that program. So we know specifically that those schools have money that they're only allowed to use on local food purchasing. So that's another big list that we've been sharing a lot with interested farmers and ranchers so that they can start those conversations.
Awesome. And then you touched on it a little bit, and I'm not totally sure how I want to phrase the question, but in terms of knowing or planning like what they want to grow for what schools buy, do you track kind of just the trends? Is it more, I mean, obviously just having a conversation with the school nutrition leaders, and that kind of thing? And how does that work?
Yeah, we have it a few different ways. So every 3 years, the USDA actually does a farm to school census where all the school food authorities and school districts in all over the country, but Nebraska, report on their purchasing habits. So we just actually got those results from the census that was administered in 2023. So we had their top 10 products that those schools listed, and we had 75% of school food authorities actually respond to that survey. So pretty accurate weighted numbers there on what schools are wanting. And then we have also that local food for schools that I mentioned earlier. That's been going for 2 years now. We're in the second year, and we have all the claims from those purchases. So we can kind of look there too and see what some of those top products are. So we can kind of see where things are going. Nebraska is the beef state, so that's number one, but we have a lot of specialty crops in there too as well. So yeah, we do have some different ways to process it.
Great, 75%. If only we could all get that kind of response. Brock or Katja, do you have any resources on sort of the distribution, marketing side of things?
No, we really do not at NRCS specifically. I mean, we are involved in the business of helping a small scale producer be more profitable through our practice implementation and things like that. So that's not a sole purpose, but we're trying to be more profitable and then keep in mind have a connection to a resource concern. So that's only a very indirect connection.
Mm-hmm. It does relate though to kind of one of my follow-up questions of just what are some, I don't know, broad or basic recommendations that you would have for producers who are looking to expand, whether that's expand into, like Ben was talking about, the restaurants or into the schools, you know, or just going to adding another farmer's market that they go to. You know, maybe this will touch on just the production side, or maybe it'll touch on the marketing side as well. So whoever wants to start, don't fight.
All right, I can start in here. Yeah, I mean, I think again, we do a lot of that kind of work individually with producers, trying to kind of really connect with them one-on-one to really establish their goals for their business and where they're trying to expand into and what makes sense for them marketing wise. You know, there are a lot of great resources out there that we've used from other extension systems that really have more kind of concrete sort of a planning sort of exercise to walk them through that process that we will use with folks. There's, you know, a lot of opportunity out there. I think it's difficult at times for folks to capture a new market because they're still trying to break in and get those connections. One thing that we really emphasize with both schools and restaurants and any sort of wholesale level buyer is just communication is so key. And that relationship with that buyer is so key. So we really emphasize first steps being reaching out to that buyer, talking to them, you know, come into the restaurant. We had a panel at a Nebraska Sustainable Egg Conference last year with restaurants from Omaha and Lincoln. The head chefs came and talked about their purchasing practices, and they really just hammered this point home of talk to us, call us, tell us what you have, tell us what you can get to us reliably week after week, and we'll kind of share what we're looking for. So really that kind of, it all starts from that relationship with the buyer. And having that close relationship where you can call them up, you can text them and say, hey, I've got extra of this week. Can I bring it into the restaurant or whatever that might be? So those relationships really set the foundation and guide, you know, the producer into, well, now I know I've got this steady market for, you know, carrots or whatever it might be, and I can overproduce that knowing that there's buyers out there that will be ready to purchase those from me.
I love that. I can build a little bit on what Ben said. I love the communication piece. A lot of times we get that producers are like, I got a really good sale with them once, and then they never reached out to me again. Like everyone, school food service staff are not ignoring you, and they do not hate you. They're just busy. There's usually, especially in those smaller schools, 1 or 2 serving 300 kids a day or even more or less. So yeah, just following up with them, getting in front of them. They're usually willing to work with you and want to work with you. It's just they might not have that capacity to do that initial reach out. So continue following up with them. They're usually some of the nicest people in the world, but you just gotta get in front of them and keep talking to them over and over again. And we always encourage with farm to school, just start small. It doesn't have to be getting, a lot of times schools get overwhelmed too. They're like, we can't serve all local on the plate all the time. And that's not what we're pushing for. It can be a couple things a day, a week, a month. We've had a lot of schools work out with producers that they just do like 1 meal a month or 1 thing a week. So trying to figure out kind of how that balance can look. Salad bars are a super easy way where people are always looking to throw fresh produce on there. So that's one like really easy. A lot of places start with that. And then if you can get into the schools for just other things and really build that community piece. Schools love to take field trips and come out and see you or have you come in and talk to classes and just continuing to kind of build that relationship. Like Ben said, it kind of all goes back to that, but the more you can build that community aspect around it, the more they're going to continue to want to work with you and kind of further that communication and that relationship as well. And I'll also say, don't forget that a lot of early care and education centers, so daycares or centers are also looking for local food. And sometimes they want smaller quantities as well. So if you are just really looking to get started, early care centers can be a good like foot in the door, kind of test the waters, see how it works for you, place to start as well.
Well, that might be a good way to get them kind of to learn about some of those dollars that are there to buy that food. So I think it's, yeah, a lot of good ways.
Yeah, I'll echo what Sarah and Ben said about the communication piece and the relationship piece. So NRCS is late to the party, so to speak. So we, haven't worked with small scale producers in our history, but we're finding ways to connect and communicate and share those market resources for growers of all kinds. And we do that with our traditional customers across the state. And one of the things we have going for us is that we have a physical presence in 77 counties across the state. That's how many NRCS offices we have. and we're used to promoting out things just like market expansion and things like that with our traditional customers. So we're used to it. It's not a space that we're normally working in, but we also have built a network of NRCS employees where we do a webinar each month and share out information. And in lots of places, we're just a conduit again, and that loudspeaker to get the word out about and support small growers. So.
Yeah, I will say with my family's short little stint in small hydroponic production, one of the most awkward things was just going in 6 hours before a restaurant opens and saying, "Hi, I grow food. What would you like me to grow for you?" So definitely just getting out there, I think, is key. Katja, anything to add on that one?
Yeah, I think the reaching out and networking is really important. I think also networking with other producers, and that's where I think, I mean, all of us in extension organize programs around, usually some sort of delivery of technical skills, but they're also an excellent opportunity to meet people and network with people and hear from other growers and get some of that peer-to-peer learning. So that's just one thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, let's not forget about all those great extension resources for
That's
how to
right.
grow things, and
Yeah.
extension events for making those connections and networking.
Yep.
This question might be a little bit narrow in terms of it might just be for Ben, but feel free if you have thoughts. In terms of having small to medium scale producers across the state and all of the different locations, are there like specific resources or groups for distribution based on that geography? Like if they are out in the middle of seemingly nowhere, if they are 20 miles from town, or even the nearest farmers market maybe 100 miles away, are there any helpful resources to help with that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I think that's something that we're working on. I mean, I think we recognize that there's sort of gaps in our food system across the state. We are missing a lot of infrastructure that would facilitate better distribution networks for small farmers. This is something that we're very much trying to rectify in different ways. I think one of the things we've been doing with our Heartland Regional Food Business Center project is we've been traveling around the state and connecting with USDA service centers that are out there to learn more about what they do and what sort of resources they have. So there's, as Brock just mentioned, there's a bunch of different service centers all over the state, and it's FSA, it's NRCS, there's rural development, a lot of resources that I think our small farmers don't tap into enough. I think often when we talk to small and medium scale farmers and say, "Hey, have you checked with your local service center and see what they might have available for you?" We get kind of blank stares, like people just aren't even thinking about themselves as being a potential recipient of service from the USDA. But in fact, as Brock has mentioned, and there's obviously other resources too, there's a lot of really impactful programs and resources, particularly in the NRCS urban ag area right now, that Brock's been doing such a great job of getting the word out across the state. So it's really opened up new opportunities and new resources that we're really pushing folks to try to tap into. We had really severe storms this spring into early summer that, a lot of folks took damage. They didn't have an FSA number. They weren't available for some of the disaster relief. They just kind of weren't set up and prepared for that. And so I think there's a lot of stuff like that out there that really just takes the time for Extension and other folks to say, "Hey, let me get you into this office and help you get started in this process," and they can help you from there. Because it might be the case that right now, today, when they go in the office, they're not going to get any particular resource, but down the line, that's going to set them up for lots of different opportunities. Having that farm number, being able to be available for low interest loans from FSA, the NRCS, EQIP, and other programs are really huge. So we are really kind of pushing on that as much as we can right now as a great resource for folks. And then I think the other thing that we're trying to do too is we've done a lot of research with small farmers and kind of talking to them about where they get their information from and who do they turn to when they have questions they can't answer, whether that be about their production system or marketing or whatever it might be. And pretty consistently, small farmers tell us that it's their peers that they trust. And so we've been working to try to kind of do some mentor-mentee matching, try to help a beginning farmer get matched up with a more established small-scale farmer who can kind of help answer those questions and be that person in their community that has the experience and know how to tell them, well, you should try this or that. A lot of times, extension folks, as much as we might have knowledge and experience, there's nothing like having someone who's actually doing the same thing that you are to really kind of get that information. So trying to kind of connect peers with each other to help them kind of be that resource for each other is another kind of opportunity that we're digging into right now.
And at risk of being redundant, Sarah, I assume that just having conversations with those local schools is a really good way to just get started. And certainly everyone's always looking for young childcare. All right, so as with all things in life, it seems like asking questions is the best route. And ask questions, make connections, and put yourself out there. We're kind of rounding down on our time here, but I just want to ask, I guess, for a final little gem, I suppose, whatever you can come up with off the top of your head. But from your perspective, in your position with your organization, what's a piece of advice, a simple piece of advice for growers who are looking to change or improve, whether they're new, whether they've been growing for years? Just, here's a good way to get started, or here's something to consider or think about. Really big nebulous question, but
I'm going to start because I've got to check out here in just a little bit, Ian. But
yeah,
I do, from NRCS, USDA NRCS's perspective, I think the answer to that question is, again, that communication and being connected. And like for small growers, we're a new partner. And so for our traditional customers, they've been able to, over the course of family farms, just get sustainability and viability long-term for their operation by maintaining connections across all of their resources. So for us, we just like to stay connected to them. Sometimes working with NRCS and USDA can be a struggle. You might not get the funding when you want. We're slow to react to different things, maybe a disaster or drought or whatever it is, but long-term resilience is built into small farms, just like big farms. And small farmers are entitled to every last piece of benefit that a large farm is. And I think that we can help sustain those small farmers and make them be successful. So my words of encouragement would be to just be persistent and keep connected to your resources, and especially USDA. Stay connected to us and make us work, right? Make us accountable and build that relationship, and it's going to help them long term.
great. Well, if you have to hop off, Brock, we really appreciate you being here. So thanks for all the awesome information about USDA helping out our growers.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, who wants to follow that one?
I'm just going to say 2 words. Start small. Well, okay, I'm going to add a few words to it. Start small, but do start. I mean, there's no time right now, as the now, whatever the saying goes. I guess I jumbled it up, but yeah, start small, start now. Just do something. So, and you'll learn along the way, and then you can always expand or quit if that's what it is. So
Great.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree. Start small. I like to encourage people to think big, but start small. Give a plug here for some funding that we have right now. The Heartland Regional Food Business Center has business builder grants that are available. They'll open up again in January 15th, up to $50,000, no matching requirement for a small scale farmer. These are opportunities to expand your distribution capacity, your processing capacity, your marketing capacity. Lots of folks applying for refrigerated vehicles for distribution, freezers, walk-in coolers, processing equipment, things like that. So one of the things that we really try to emphasize with the small scale business owner is having multiple streams of revenue. So if you're just producing raw produce and selling it direct to consumer, that just kind of, unless you're on a scale that's large enough that you can really crank out a lot of product, having those value added products as secondary revenue streams is really valuable. Gives you lots of opportunities to reach new markets. So think about something that you can take what you're already growing and process however you need to kind of get that second level of value out of what you're doing. That will kind of set you up for long-term business growth, business sustainability, and things like that. And our business builder grants are out there as a great opportunity to help you reach that next goal.
Yeah.
I'll finish it out with the start small echo here. But I agree. We kind of say on Farm to School Adventures, start small and finish big is always our hope for you. But in the meantime, you're going to have to be patient and just recognize schools, sometimes it's very cyclical how they operate, and it takes a little bit, and some of that continued communication and resilience that you all have touched on to kind of get in there. But there is that huge opportunity to finish big and make that impact. Farm to School especially is just, it's a long-term investment in your farm's growth and the health of that next generation coming up and your community. So just remember that you're part of a much larger picture when you're doing something with Farm to School. So be patient and you will see those payoffs and hopefully finish big. But yeah, remember to start small, but do start. I like that, Katja.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, Ben, Katja, Brock, thanks for joining us today. Unless we've got some extra questions from the other hosts here, I think that was pretty fantastic. A lot of really good information. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us and thanks for hosting this.
Yeah, thank you.